Hi, everybody. This is Diana again. I'm sure you're getting tired of seeing my face, but here I am. It's the last day of the World Quilt Show online, and I am very happy to be here with a guild member who has participated in our Pennsylvania National Quilt Extravaganza for so many years. I'm here with Carolmarie Scanlon of the Main Line Quilters. Carolmarie, how are you today?
I am very well, thank you.
Good. Well, we're so happy to have you here today, and we're super excited to have the Main Line Quilters present their special exhibit in our upcoming Pennsylvania show in September at the Oaks, at the Greater Philly Expo Center. Where are you zooming from today?
I am zooming from my home in Narberth, Pennsylvania.
Looks like you have an amazing studio with all those threads.
Well, I do. I have my sit-down long arm, I have a Bernina, and I have a 6-needle sewing machine, just a few the collection of the different sewing machines that I use.
That's amazing. Sounds like you're definitely well equipped. So can you tell me a little bit about the Main Line Quilters?
Main Line Quilters has been a guild for over 50 years. We meet at the Tredyffrin Library in Upper Merion, Pennsylvania. We're a daytime guild, so we meet on the third Friday of the month from 9:30 till about 11:30 at the Tredyffrin Library. Now, since the pandemic, we've met on Zoom, which has been really nice because we've been able to have different presenters from all over the world. We've had some worldwide presenters, and all throughout the pandemic, our guild is a very social guild. So we've been meeting at our local park. And every Friday we have a stitch and chat session so we can share ideas either on Zoom or in person. So we're a very active, a very chatty guild.
Yeah, I can see from the images I think we're showing online now from the picnic. Tell us about, is that something that you're doing every Friday, or was that a special occasion?
That was a special occasion. Every May, we have a Mother's Day tea. Just to kind of finalize our year, and during the summer months we do service projects, and we have a presentation or two, a workshop or two. But that was a guild, that was a meeting that we had just to highlight getting together again. It was a beautiful day, mandates were lifted, and we all got together at the park.
That's so nice. It looks like everybody had such a great time showing their work.
We have some very active quilters. Some of our ladies, we work with 2 different charity events and throughout the year, and some of our ladies are very, very active in the charity quilting. Also, when the shutdowns first began last March, our local hospital, I'm involved with our local hospital as my daughter-in-law is the nurse manager of one of the local hospital emergency rooms. And during the first months of the pandemic, we made over 4,000 masks that we donated to the community. So we're a very active and a really fun guild.
That's awesome. That's such a great thing. How many members are there in the guild?
We have about 50 members, about 35 very active members, and some members that are not quite as active, but we run around 50 members.
That's awesome. Well, we're excited to see all the quilts made by the members come September. What's the mission of the Main Line Quilt Club?
The mission of the Main Line Quilt Guild is to promote and publicize the art of quilting. And we have members in their 30s all the way up to in their 90s. And we have ladies that do different types of quilting. We have a contingency of only hand quilters. We have a contingency of only machine quilters. We have acu quilters. So our guild, we learn from each other, and that's a really nice thing. Is every meeting we have a show and tell. Every meeting we have a presenter that presents a topic of interest, and then we have a show and tell. And we've had to start our presenter first because there are sometimes we have so much to show and tell it cuts into the presenter's time.
That's really nice. I mean, I think it's great to be, proud of your work and to want to show it to everybody, and just show, be active in such a great craft. How can quilters become a member of the Main Line Quilters?
Mainline Quilt Guild, we have a website. It's mainlinequilters.org. We also are on Facebook and Twitter. We have a lovely one of our members who takes care of our social media. So our monthly meetings, our presenters are listed on both the website and on our Facebook group, as well as pictures of what members have been doing.
That's great. Well, anybody is out there that wants to join, please go to their website.
And the nice thing is you can join on our Zoom meetings. Anybody can join the Zoom meetings. We have a guest fee. It's only a $5 guest fee. So you can come and join us at any of our meetings in person or on Zoom.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. So how many years have you been participating in the Pennsylvania National Quilt Extravaganza?
I have been going to the Pennsylvania Quilt Extravaganza for probably, how long has it been? How long have you had it at Oaks?
It's, I think, going into its 29th year, 29th or
Okay.
30th.
I have been going for 29 years. And I would go, I dropped my kids off at school when they were young and head on there and spend the day at one of the days at the guild and or at the show, and then come back a second day and maybe even come back a third day. So
That's awesome.
it is nice. I have loved going to the Pennsylvania Quilt Show. And now that it's at Oaks, it's such a nice, large, airy, bright venue. So I very much enjoy going.
So yes, you were there back in the days in Fort Washington then.
That is correct.
We love the Fort Washington Expo Center, but we certainly like the largeness of the greater Philly Expo Center better.
Yes, there's lots of room for people to come. So that is definitely a place to come.
Right. And you've always participated with such a great collection of quilts. What's the concept behind this year's collection that's called Quarantine Quilts?
Well, this year's collection of quarantine quilts, this is actually our second year presenting. And every year that I've gone, I thought, I would like to have our guild do an exhibition after other guilds do. So I contacted you, and you were most excited to have ours. So this is actually our second year in having a exhibition. But quarantine quilts is perfect because that's what we've been doing. Our members have been quilting like crazy and have such a diverse selection of quilts. Our last presentation was interesting because it was a brown bag. We had a brown bag presentation where you put some fabric that you like in a bag and you pass it to your group of people, and the people in your group would make a quilt block out of your fabric. So that quilt exhibition was it was very interesting because you could see how different fabrics looked in different squares. But this particular presentation really highlights the members and how diverse they are. And you can see some are amazingly elaborate and some are very simple. And it just shows the different types of quilting and the different personalities of the different members of our guild.
That's really cool. Were there any rules in this challenge, or simply this is like a highlight of the work that the members have been doing during quarantine?
There was no rules. That was kind of fun. There were no rules with this one. I proposed this. Our membership thought it was a great idea. And here we are. So you will see quite a variety from very small wall hangings to very large bed quilts.
That's amazing. So tell us about your entry into this year's the quarantine quilts. Tell us about your quilt.
My entry is a technique that I tried, and it's called straight lines make circles. It's two geometric squares that are complementary red, white, and blue colors because I'm very patriotic. And when you put them together, they actually make circles. So it is going to be, it is straight lines make circles. And you'll be able to see the two different squares that I use, the two different blocks, and how put together make the circles.
That's really great. And it's a beautiful quilt. I can't wait to see it in person. How long did it take you to make it?
It took me about a couple months to make it. I think by the time you choose the fabric and figure out the directions on, how to do it and get it all together and take out a couple blocks that you put in sideways and put them back in together. It took a couple months to do that one.
Are you more drawn to the traditional quilts versus like the art quilts or modern quilts?
I am definitely a traditional quilter.
Mhm.
I'm putting in a second quilt called America the Beautiful that highlights all 50 states. That's done by
Mhm.
applique and embroidery. And what was very nice with the second quilt is that I used it during homeschool this year as a social studies project for my 10-year-old grandson, actually then 9-year-old grandson, for fourth grade American history. So as we did the states, we learned something about each of the states. So it was a fun project that he and I did together.
That's awesome. That's a great way to learn your states. I
It
like
was
that concept.
it was fun.
And did he learn all his states?
Actually, he did. He knows the states and all the capitals thanks to the Quilt Guild.
That's really great. Well, Carol Marie, how long have you been quilting yourself?
I have been quilting for probably 30 years. I made baby quilts for my kids. I cringe at some of them because they're very simple and not quite straight. And over the years, I've expanded my quilting to different types of quilting, but I stay within the traditional quilting
Mhm.
genre.
Well, who introduced you to quilting? Or did you find it on your own?
Would you believe it was the quilt show? I went with a girlfriend, and I really had not quilted much before, except very simple straight lines, because I've been a garment sewer since I was a little girl, making doll clothes and Barbie clothes. And my girlfriend showed me this. She goes, "Do you want to come?" And I thought, "Well, Guy, that sounds good." Oh, well, let me tell you, I was bitten by the bug thanks to you, thanks to the
Mhm.
Mancuso Quilt Show.
That's amazing. And I bet you're not the only person that has ever happened to. We do have a lot of quilters who have never gone to a quilt show and then soon they get there, they're like, oh yes, this is my craft.
Well, and it's art.
Mhm.
Quilting is art. And that's the important thing to know. It's a wonderful way of expression and
Mhm.
it's an art.
Have you always been artistic?
Oh gosh, no.
No.
Not at all. No, not I cannot draw a straight line. And when we have to illustrate showing the grandsons how to illustrate for the projects and papers, the grandsons just laugh because it just doesn't go well. But give me a needle and a thread, I'm okay.
That's your those are your tools. Well, speaking of that, is there a quilting tool that you just can't live without?
A seam ripper.
Yeah, yeah.
That is my favorite tool. I have about a dozen of them. And yes, it's as an eraser is to a pencil, a seam ripper is to a quilter.
Yeah, I heard in my last interview with Jean Impey of Hoffman, she mentioned that she actually uses, she gets dental tools from the dentist that once they go dull. And I imagine that is used like as a seam ripper almost.
Not quite. It can pull
No?
stitches, but no, the seam ripper, not quite that one. But I actually
Okay.
do have a contingency of dental because I have a silhouette cutter. So I do use that for weeding. So dental tools and seam rippers go in handy for that.
Well, as you can see, I am still learning and I am a non-quilter, but always learning about the different, techniques and the tools that quilters use. An, it's amazing for me to hear about how quilters are using innovative things in their quilting. So,
Well, that's also what's nice about the Mancuso Show's marketplace,
mhm.
because there's so many things that you need or didn't even know that you needed at the marketplace. So it's a wonderful resource to go to.
Right, that is so true. We'll be excited to see you there in September.
Thank you. It's coming
So
soon.
yes, it is. It is coming very, very soon. That's at September 16th to the 19th at the Greater Philly Expo Center, just in case anybody out there is wondering. Um, Carol Marie, when you're not quilting, what are your hobbies?
Well, as I said, I have a silhouette cutter and I do stained glass. Stained glass is like quilting with glass, harder on the fingers than quilting as many times. But my main hobby is I have three grandsons with another one on the way. I have the older one is just turned 10, and the two younger boys are 5, almost 6, and just turned 3 with another little boy on the way. So I spend a lot of my time. We call it alligator wrestling. My daughter has the two boys, and the redhead is my son's son. and we spend a lot of time with the boys.
That's so exciting. And in our chat, before we went live, you had talked about all these amazing places that you've gone with your eldest grandson. As he has a bucket list of things to do. So where are some of the places that you've gone?
We spent a lot of time, several trips in colonial Philadelphia, and he thoroughly enjoys Philadelphia. The highlight I think he had, we went on a carriage ride through Philadelphia. He loved that one. We went to Crystal Cave, which is out in your direction. We went to the Electric City Aquarium in Scranton yesterday, as a matter of fact. Today, he's at the USS New Jersey with my husband, and they're at a World War II a reenactment. But as I said, the place that he liked the least was the Mutter Museum. That's a museum in Philadelphia of medical oddities. And be with a father who's a paramedic and a mother who's a nurse, and I am a nurse, I was so surprised that he did not like all those medical oddities at the Mutter Museum.
That's really interesting. Perhaps he's just more of a natural with nature and type of that. Those things maybe interest him a little bit more.
Definitely, I agree with that. That and building Legos, two favorite
Yes.
things.
Oh my gosh, yes, because what child does not like to build with Legos?
That is correct.
The worst is stepping on a Lego.
That
Is never
also
fun. Well, Carolmarie, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to talk to you and talk to you about the Main Line Quilters Guild. As I mentioned before, everybody, the Main Line Quilters will have a special exhibition that's on display during Pennsylvania National Quilt Extravaganza. It's called Quarantine Quilts. You're not going to want to miss it, so please come out. Carolmarie, have a great day, and we'll see you at the show.
Thank you. I'll see you at the show. Looking forward to it.
Coming up next. Bye-bye. Coming up next, we have David Mink. We have a couple premieres. One, we have a Pastillo tour with Lyric Montgomery Kennard. And then we also we're going to replay our One World Quilt video that we had created last year while we were, having our World Quilt Show during the pandemic. That'll be really cool. And then David will come back on, David Mancuso, and he'll be talking about where do we go from here. Until next time, see you soon.